And now it's time for another declassified edition of What Would Jello Do? Well, what do you know? At the very last minute, with a day or two to spare, the Barack Obama administration finally allowed that Senate investigative report on the CIA to actually be released to the public, or at least part of it. And of course, the conclusions in there are pretty damning. All the more amazing that Dianne Feinstein would be so righteous against all the crimes in that report, considering when she was mayor of San Francisco, she was an out-and-out police brutality groupie, and then was the biggest defender of Suharto, the old dictator of Indonesia, who tortured, killed, etc., when he was still running the show there. And it goes on and on and on. And of course, the hand-wringing has begun, and they're claiming, oh, they're going to attack us all over the world. Well, look, they're already doing that. Why do you think ISIS puts people in orange jumpsuits before they murder them in such horrific fashion? There's a reason for that. People in other parts of the world have been angry about this and concerned about this for a long time, and for good reason. And Obama comes out and says, yeah, this is going to put a stop to torture, never again. Wrong. What this is doing is just say, a little bit of a scold. Oh, you bad CIA, you shouldn't do things like that. But what about the Army and Abu Ghraib, the Marines, the Bagram, the British Guardian's report years ago that there were 2 secret prisons where people were being tortured on ships off the coast of Somalia? Who was running that one? What happened? I mean, there's so many intelligence agencies, they don't even all know what they were doing, what each other is doing, which is partly what let 9/11 happen in the first place. And of course, another very interesting part of the report is saying all this torture of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and the others didn't produce one single tip they would have gotten otherwise, which the FBI learned decades ago. It doesn't even get good information. So why was so much torture used in the first place? Because the people who ordered it and the people who participated in it dug torturing people. The same kind of sadists that ran Nazi Germany. So you see where I'm going here. You can't just stop with a little report and call that the end of the day without investigating the NSA and the military intelligence and the other torture, etc. These were war crimes. I repeat, these were war crimes. And if you really don't want this to happen again, it is indeed time to charge the war criminals with war crimes. In my opinion, Dick Cheney should be in jail for war crimes. Donald Rumsfeld, George W. Bush, although he was largely out of the loop, but because he didn't care what he did, he was like, yeah, let's do that. Here's a big good bathroom leading. Don't mess with Texas. Yeah, but the ones who scare me the most, of course, are the ones who worked for them underneath, and we don't even know some of their names. We know some, though, like David Addington, he should be in jail. General Jeffrey Miller, whose name pops up in Guantanamo Bay, and the torturing going on in the prison of Abu Ghraib and others. I think he ought to be put on trial for war crimes. Alberto Gonzalez, John Yoo, war criminals. Douglas Feith, Paul Wolfowitz, Condoleezza Rice, war criminals. Where is the Nuremberg trials the whole world has been waiting for the war crimes of the Bush regime, some of which continue to this day under the Obama regime? Otherwise, we would have closed Gitmo and the still existing black ops sites in the prisons of Afghanistan a long, long time ago. I mean, this is the danger of just issuing a damning report that's in the news cycle for a day or two, as what's his name, Blit Butzer on CNN is frantically trying to defend the CIA and brings on that Pillsbury Doughboy crossed with a Martian water moccasin of a CIA director, Michael Hayden, is saying, no, this is all wrong. They're all right. They wouldn't even talk to me. You wouldn't even talk to them, dude. You too are a war criminal and should be in prison. But the problem with letting people off the hook this easily is it's allowing the idea that we do torture people, which didn't even yield the Boston Marathon bombers, even though the NSA spying too, need I repeat myself. This is becoming a new normal. Even if Obama says, oh, I signed an order, never again, the increasing likelihood of Jeb Bush as president starting in 2017, it's all going to come back again. And worse yet, these people who should be tried as war criminals now, the lower echelon ones like David Addington and the rest, are going to rise to higher and higher positions and be able to do more war crimes, more torture, John Yoo on the Supreme Court, whatever, unless they are tried as war criminals now. And they've already come out and said if other countries want these people arrested and sent there to be tried as war criminals, will refuse to honor the arrest warrants. International treaties be damned. Of course, this is the main reason we never joined the International Criminal Court in the first place. The initial not-so-secret reason was to protect Henry Kissinger from being rounded up and tried as a war criminal for Cambodia and Chile and East Timor and all these other things. And that dates back to more new normals that they should have gone whole hog to stop in their tracks, starting with the pardon of Richard Nixon. That dude should have gone to prison for the rest of his life, not be let off the hook, because when you let Tricky Dick off the hook, okay, there's maybe less national trauma in the short run, but in the long run, here we are being traumatized worse and worse every year by government officials of both parties, the whole army of Richard Nixons, who don't have any more morals anymore. Hey, he was a crook, he got away with it, I can do that too. Worse was Contragate. Government dope dealing, sponsorship of terrorists called the Contras, arms deals with the supposedly evil Ayatollahs in Iran, and they all got let off the hook too, and some of them turned up in higher positions, not just in the George W. Bush administration, but in the case of Deputy CIA Director Robert Gates, he who knew all, he could not known about all the government dope dealing and the murders and all. He winds up even being Obama's defense secretary too. At some point, you've got to make these people obey the law. So maybe what we really need to do, for starters, since they failed to predict the fall of the Shah of Iran, failed to predict Arab Spring, failed to predict 9/11, the list goes on and on and on and on. How much good is the CIA really doing anybody? Beyond bringing the war criminals to justice and outing them, the CIA, NSA, and the rest of this runaway, super expensive, money-sucking intelligence apparatus should all be abolished. Let go. Unemployment line. Whatever. And the NSA, same deal. I mean, these agencies, from their inception, have been far less interested in protecting the country from the big bad commie evil empire or Al-Qaeda or ISIS or whatever than they have been just in building and preserving their own power base. So all the elected officials are so scared of them, they let them run amok any way they want. Aside from also investigating Blackwater for war crimes, I forgot that, they should just fire all these people and shut this whole thing down.